Late summer, 3 a.m. The ground temperature is 25 degrees Celsius. And the humidity stabilizes at 85%. Deep in the primal forests at 30 degrees north latitude, a mist rises silently in the shadows. It's only for a moment. Then it drifts away, leaving no trace. This is Lingzhi, propagating life. Lingzhi, a common immortal herb in ancient Chinese mythology. A supreme treasure of celestial realms. Guarded by ancient beasts from Shan Hai Jing. It takes a millennium to mature. In ancient beliefs, those who see it, even once in a lifetime, are considered extremely fortunate. Tasting it even once is believed to resurrect the dead and grant eternal life. Thus, this millennial immortal herb, Lingzhi, over thousands of years, has been regarded as an auspicious sign by the Chinese, creating classic traditional patterns. Rui motifs. The Rui, modeled after Lingzhi, appears widely in garments, sculptures, paintings and architecture in history. Even the National Ski Jumping Center, for the 2022 Beijing Winter Olympics, was designed in the shape of a Rui. So, where does Lingzhi come from? Does it truly resurrect the dead and grant immortality? Dapan Mountains. Formed by volcanic eruptions in the Jurassic period, is eastern China's important germplasm bank of medicinal plants. In the untouched dense forest, it's not completely silent. In fact, life has been teeming here for nearly 200 million years. Lingzhi thrives here.
We often encounter snakes wherever the conditions are clean and smooth. Snakes are there. Lingzhi grows similarly. It gets sunlight and has moisture. It's slightly humid. The humidity and temperature need to be just right for Lingzhi. In weedy areas, don't bother looking there. Lingzhi won't grow there.
Lingzhi, a polypore fungus, parasitizes on roots or rotting wood, in dark, humid, and warm conditions. In other words, Lingzhi shares similar growth conditions with most mushrooms. They belong to a unique biological category: fungi. Fungi are among the smallest life forms on Earth, such as bacteria. Yet, they also become the largest organisms on Earth.
Do you know what the largest organism in the world is? It's not a whale, not a dinosaur, nor a redwood tree, but a mushroom. And that mushroom is the same as the one in the famous northeastern dish, Aramillaria mellea, commonly known as honey mushroom.
To date, the largest cluster of honey fungus discovered by humans spans an area of 8.8 square kilometers and weighs at least several thousand tons. Based on its growth rate, its age is estimated to be between 2,400 and 8,650 years. About 4.2 billion years ago, fungi emerged as Earth's earliest life forms. Lingzhi and similar mushroom-like fungi can be traced back to about 400 million to 1 billion years ago. They co-evolved with plants and participated in assisting life in the first great feat of colonizing land. To this day, they still participate in nearly all of life activities on Earth in extraordinary ways. So when did Chinese people first discover Lingzhi? The earliest known stories about Chinese people and Lingzhi date back to about 6,800 years ago. At the Himudu archaeological site in Zhejiang, remnants of Lingzhi were discovered. Experts deduce that these Lingzhi were used as medicine by ancient peoples. This is the earliest known record of Chinese medicine. Like most mushrooms, Lingzhi exists for one purpose: propagating life through spore dispersal. Thus, this mushroom form is biologically known as a fruiting body or spore-producing structure. Under an electron microscope, we can see these sesame-like particles are Lingzhi spores. In fact, each spore's diameter is only 4 to 6 microns. This size is imperceptible to the naked eye. Nonetheless, with modern advanced photography technology, we captured the moment of Lingzhi spore birth. These labyrinths under the Lingzhi cap serve as spore exits. A cross-section reveals countless aligned pores arranged in parallel. Once spores mature, Lingzhi ejects them through these pores into the air. The initial speed can exceed 100 kilometers per hour. But spores are extremely light. After ejection, they decelerate to nearly zero within 4 millimeters. Therefore, Lingzhi simultaneously ejects billions of spores, thus creating an airflow to carry the spores as far as possible. The rest relies on the wind to bring some good fortune. No wonder in Zhang Zhongjing's treatise on febrile and miscellaneous diseases, Lingzhi is described as the essence of heaven and earth. However, even if the naked eye can't capture the reproduction of Lingzhi spores, ancient people summarized ways to cultivate Lingzhi through experience. With their wisdom, ancient people created synthetic fertilizers and placed them in decayed wood as the medium for Lingzhi. Once prepared, just wait for Lingzhi spores to catch the wind. Such method is usually found near Lingzhi-producing regions. Lingzhi spores passing through the air often gave ancient people pleasant surprises in their patient waiting. So, why is wild Lingzhi so rare in nature? That ancient peoples believed it was a celestial gift, encountered only few times in life, because, blown by the wind, Lingzhi spores are extremely choosy. Professor Peng Chan from Anhui University of Chinese Medicine engages long-term in industry research collaboration of Lingzhi and other TCM resources. He ventures into the mountains to find decayed wood that meets Lingzhi spores' growth requirements.
I seem to have found it. This is a fungus called Ganoderma applanatum. It looks like a wooden lump, impossible to pull apart, very hard, isn't it? Actually, here inside, you can see it mainly absorbs lignin from decaying wood.
As a high-temperature aerobic saprophyte, Lingzhi spores require temperatures between 25 and 35 degrees Celsius with high humidity and oxygen, as well as a piece of recently deceased wood.
Cut it open. It's already decayed inside, isn't it? In here, the decay hasn't fully set in yet. See, this wood is completely decayed with no nutrients, it's no longer useful.
Why is it crucial to use partially decayed wood? This type of wood retains nutrients, with an ideal moisture level, and abundant microbes, and maintains a warm temperature. Lingzhi's required lignocellulose decomposes easily. This meets the growing needs of Lingzhi during its development. Therefore, it becomes an ideal nursery for spore germination. Over 2,000 years ago, 9 Lingzhi mushrooms sprouted overnight on a beam at Ganqiuan Palace of Emperor Wu of Han. Officials presented memorials to congratulate the emperor for his great virtue and declare it as a heavenly omen. This story, recorded in the Book of Han, Annals of Emperor Wu, is one of the legendary tales of Lingzhi. It has been widely circulated. However, the climate in Shaanxi, where Emperor Wu's palace was located, is unsuitable for Lingzhi growth. Could it truly have been a celestial blessing? Later experts believed Lingzhi spores have hard outer shells that can remain dormant for tens, or even hundreds of years. This might be the key to unraveling this miracle. Lingzhi spores have a double-layered hard shell structure, resistant to mechanical force, acid, alkali, and drought, making them incredibly resilient. Only enough humidity and oxygen, and adequate nutrients, can trigger spore development. No one knows how long these Lingzhi spores lay dormant in the timber at Ganqiuan Palace, until the structure rotted. In the second year of Emperor Wu's Yuanfeng era during a rainy and humid summer, it bloomed overnight, to awe the world.
Ahead, we spot it. Here is a typical piece of decayed wood. It's dead, yet not completely decomposed. It can provide the necessary abundant nutrients for the growth of this type of fungus.
Also, Lingzhi spores development requires absorbing lots of lignocellulose. In semi-rotten wood, lignocellulose decomposes more easily. It promotes Lingzhi's tissue growth and disease resistance, and serves as a vital nutrient source for Lingzhi.
I can pick it up with one hand. The fungus has penetrated inside to absorb the necessary nutrients from the segment of wood, so it becomes lighter.
What changes occur in the spores when they fully absorb nutrients from decayed wood? Professor Yang Dongfeng from the College of Life Sciences and Medicine, Zhejiang Sci-Tech University, is conducting tissue separation and mycelium cultivation of Lingzhi. Under a microscope, mycelium emerges from spores and measures only 3 to 10 microns. From this point, mycelium begins a rapid growth cycle, quickly multiplying and spreading extensively. It must swiftly encounter the mycelium of another Lingzhi.
Previously, we isolated single mycelium from wild resources through separation, cultivated individual mycelium, and then placed different individual mycelia in a petri dish to let them colonize and thrive.
The mycelium grown from spores cannot grow into a Lingzhi fruiting body on its own. If left solitary, it must either wither and die, or be overtaken by other fungi. On decaying wood, hundreds of millions of microorganisms create a mini battleground. Only the strongest fungus can rule the environment and even assimilate other fungi. A Lingzhi's single mycelium is like a lone soldier in enemy territory. Each step it takes is precarious. Finally, two different Lingzhi's individual mycelia meet on the fiercely contested decayed wood, rapidly merging to form intertwined dikaryotic mycelium network, spreading through every inch of the wooden layer. Within a month, this network structure can spread through every inch of the wooden layer, quickly absorb cellulose from the decayed wood, convert it into the carbohydrates, proteins, and amino acids needed for growth, and store energy for the next phase of fission. Such a strange reproductive process dooms the oddity of wild Lingzhi's survival. It's exceedingly rare, like finding a needle in a haystack. In the wild, amidst about 30,000 to 50,000 pieces of wood, there may be just one that can ultimately support the sprouting of Lingzhi. Finding it depends entirely on fate. After more than a month, the dikaryotic mycelium breaks through the soil, assisted by oxygen and light. It gradually forms creamy buds. As the cap slowly opens, Lingzhi turns from white to yellow, then yellow to red. The texture changes from soft to more resilient. This is because during Lingzhi's growth, the mycelium undergoes continuous division and growth through strong oxygen consumption. Meanwhile, Lingzhi experiences rapid oxidation. Before it oxidizes, growth enables maximum energy accumulation for spore production. In the lab, experts extract and examine the distribution of compounds within Lingzhi. These bright spots show antioxidants produced to protect cells from strong oxidation, including large amounts of Ganoderma lucidum polysaccharides and triterpenes. These work to remove free radicals from Lingzhi, protect cell walls, and give more time for spore maturation. Lingzhi, to ensure its own growth and reproduction, produces substances that Chinese people discovered by chance, resulting in its medicinal value for antioxidation, strengthening the body, and delaying aging.
Modern pharmacological studies show that Lingzhi can enhance the human body's metabolism of toxins and drugs, and reduce chemical-induced liver damage. Additionally, it boosts our immunity.
The thymus is a critical immune organ in our bodies. It's the primary source of T cell production. We recently published a study showing Lingzhi's good regulatory effect on the thymus. It promotes the generation of more active T cells, thereby better enhancing human immunity.
In about a month, Lingzhi goes through white cap expansion and discoloration stages, becoming an elegant rui. But does Lingzhi's medicinal value depend on its size and age? Having dealt with Lingzhi for half his life, Zhang Zhenggao is a cultural heritage inheritor of Lingzhi processing. He holds the key to the growth, size, and form of Lingzhi. Unlike plants relying on roots for water and nutrient absorption, Lingzhi's growth depends entirely on the mycelium's nutrients. Hence, a Lingzhi fruiting body requires a mycelium volume 10 times its size to provide enough nutrients.
Growth is not difficult. Size is related to variety and nutrient supply. Complete rui shapes require ample oxygen and appropriate light. 73 cm 75 cm. In May and June, the golden-edged Lingzhi is visually appealing. Its medicinal properties and appearance are top-notch. Layered auspicious clouds in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 layers. Will keep growing until late October.
In ancient Chinese mythology, Lingzhi takes 1,000 years to mature. But in reality, regardless of size or height, though compared to 1,000 years, it lasts only about 10 months. A Lingzhi fruiting body's 10-month life cycle is very short, yet in the mushroom realm, or among the fungi family, compared to mushrooms that last only a day, the fruiting body of Lingzhi is quite durable. Even after the fruiting body dies, Lingzhi's mycelium continues surviving in the decayed wood and producing new fruiting bodies until all nutrients in the wood are depleted, ending the life of the Lingzhi mycelium. Before Lingzhi spores disperse, the nutrients and active components within the fruiting body accumulate to their highest levels. Thus, the best harvest time is when the fruiting body is most medicinally potent. However, wild Lingzhi is not always medicinal.
This is Shima superba. The tree is toxic. Here is a hosta. Hosta is also highly toxic. I'm afraid this Lingzhi is inedible.
Wild Lingzhi thrives, mainly in host-rotting wood environments. Alongside cohabitant phytochemicals, Lingzhi absorbs indiscriminately. This characteristic means wild Lingzhi's medicinal value and properties are closely tied to its environment. Lingzhi growing near toxic plants will also absorb companion toxins, becoming a deadly red umbrella and losing medicinal worth. Yet other Lingzhi can absorb beneficial elements and gain unique and extraordinarily medicinal properties. Due to its tough texture, Lingzhi cannot be eaten raw, so the first step in processing is a method that has been used for centuries in traditional Chinese medicine: slicing.
Historically, the most common way to use the Lingzhi fruiting body was to brew it. Besides water-soluble compounds, Lingzhi also contains many alcohol-soluble compounds. Traditionally, after water extraction, it's soaked in alcohol, allowing the full utilization of its active compounds.
10 months after the first mycelium sprouts, Lingzhi finally reaches the stage of spore ejection. It transfers all its nutrients and genetic information to the next generation. What remains is the form transcending time and space, and stirring people's imagination about the universe and life. Lingzhi Rui. In ancient times, its unfading nature perhaps birthed myths of millennial Lingzhi and the immortal herb. Imagine finding Lingzhi with active components was extremely rare in ancient times. Fresh Lingzhi is even rarer. Nowadays, people are starting to cultivate it artificially to increase yield and stabilize quality, allowing this once immortal food to reach ordinary households.
Through the 11-year survey of medicinal resources from 2011 to 2022, we cataloged the Lingzhi resources. There are over 180 Lingzhi-like fungi worldwide, 108 of which are in China. They're spread nationwide from Changbai Mountains in northeast China, to the mountains of Zhejiang and Anhui, to rainforests in Guangdong, Yunnan and Hainan. Wild Lingzhi can be found throughout these areas.
The Lingzhi industry is an enduring one, playing a significant role in modern times. Lingzhi is truly a pure biological product. pollution-free, organic, a real model for integrating traditional and modern medicine.
While Lingzhi becomes a cherished medicine, the ancient Chinese also developed Lingzhi-based delicacies. Over 2,000 years ago, during the spring and autumn and warring states periods, Lingzhi, Tang's Questions recorded one of the earliest instances of using Lingzhi as food. Adding Lingzhi to food increases protein, zinc, and vitamin C and E intake, which helps boost immunity. Today, Lingzhi is classified as both a food and a medicine, transitioning from traditional medicine and supplements into the everyday diet of ordinary people. In ancient times, encountering a Lingzhi was a rare fate, let alone witnessing the brief moment when it releases its spores. Harvesting, consuming, and using its spores is nearly impossible. Even in modern times, understanding spores, due to their micron scale and toughness, left us powerless for long. Today, with modern industrial advancements, through careful cultivation and collection, we can break cell walls and provide humans with more options for consuming Lingzhi.
Through prolonged consumption, especially after the NHC and the SAMR approved Lingzhi for medicinal and edible use, let's say, its growth potential is now fully unlocked. Just like a red apricot signaling that the spring of the Lingzhi industry has arrived.
In light of fungi's lengthy evolutionary history, human civilization seems brief. From about 1 billion years ago to today, before our arrival, and long after, fungi permeate every inch of Earth. Unique from animals, plants, and other eukaryotes, with their own domain. Every year, about 45 million tons of fungal spores waft through the air. They play a role in the life cycles of most plants and animals on Earth, and hold endless mysteries, awaiting discovery. The Chinese story with Lingzhi began only a few thousand years ago. It teaches us about life's cycles and mutual generation and restriction, from the tangible to the intangible, from food to medicine, and from encounters in the wild 6,800 years ago to modern cultivation, innovation and industry development. What remains unchanged is our continued awe for its vigorous vitality that thrives from decaying wood. We imbue it with the auspicious symbolism of good fortune and success. If there's a word to describe our lasting affection for Lingzhi, it's likely love at first sight.